take some dual credits in high school, but then I'm not saying it's a waste of time because it's helpful, but you have to make sure when you go to the college that it transfers and it wasn't a waste of your time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any experience in that yet? That you took these dual classes and you found out they didn't count, towards your major or whatever?
That's a very good question. Katera?
So I came in with my associate, so I did dual credit in high school. And so once I got to my senior year, I was like thinking about stopping it because I know that's when I found out that not all your credits transfer depending on your school. But luckily at UT, all of my credits did transfer except for my biology since I'm a bio major and they wanted me to take it there. But it was very helpful because like I'm already like core complete and the only extra classes I have to take that are outside my major are requirements for UT specifically. So like certain flags we have to take in order to graduate from there. But it did help. But I do say like, it's this thing where you could go on like whatever school you're thinking about and you can see if your credits will transfer over. So I would say definitely check that out, but just make sure, because it can be a waste of time for like some people, but like my friend, she also graduated with her associates and she goes to Texas Southern and all her credits transferred as well. So.
No, and just to add to that as well, on the dual credit, because I also took dual credit in high school that transferred over to college, and also at Brazoria College as well. And I realized I went in with more hours that didn't really apply to my major. Now, I changed my major at the end, but you may go in as a sophomore, but towards your major, you may only have like 6 hours. So that good advice on looking at the schools that you are interested in and checking to see if they will take those hours is helpful, for sure. And because that'll help you decide on what classes to take in high school for that dual credit. If you want to be a chemist, nurse, then it's probably a good idea to check in the high school AP or college courses that can apply for that, qualify. Go ahead, Garrett.
I do have one thing to add. I did come in with quite a few dual credit hours as well. I can say I'm an engineering major. A lot of that stuff doesn't transfer. So my biggest piece of advice, if you know you want to do something specific, even if the courses won't transfer, having taken the class and having seen it before can help. So if you're majoring in engineering, maybe some sort of engineering tech course, maybe some sort of drafting, just something to get your mind already set on it or mind already understanding or thinking in that direction.
Thank you, Garrett. We have another question.
I have a question for the panel. As a small business owner, I want to see your thoughts on the job market after you graduate and how you guys feel about going into the job market after college and the prospects. There's a growing trend among your generation that college is, there's trade schools and other ways to go. I want to see how y'all feel about the prospects of y'all jobs after you graduate.
The job market is very saturated. I've already got my foot in the door. I'm going on my second rotation interning. There's a need for everything. There's a need for trades. There's a need for degreed people. There's a need for STEM, medical field, everything. So don't be alarmed when you're a junior, senior, you got one semester out and you don't have a plan. There's a need. So you need to identify where you're interested in working at, what companies, what roles, and figure out what best suits you and how to make yourself attractive to these companies.
Would anyone else like to add to that? Go ahead. No, keep them going.
So like, when you get around in your junior year or senior year in college, like the young man was saying, colleges have an interview where different companies may come to the campus site. So would you advise a student, make sure they try to go when the jobs come to the campus, to get interviewed or check what they have to offer? Because some people may not know about it when they have them or exactly what that is. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Schools have career fair,
okay.
From my understanding, schools have career fairs annually or twice a year, right?
Every semester.
Okay, yeah, once a semester. So In the spring, we'll have one. In the fall, we'll have one. So just, I'd say always going. If you're a freshman, put on your suit, get your resume ready, and at least go talk. And like, you'll get the ice broke. You'll start understanding. And then I'm an officer for NSBE. We have companies coming 3-4 times a month. So just getting involved in those organizations that are geared towards the fields in the degree plan, or the fields in the major that you're chasing after, and seeing when they have professionals coming. Because a lot of times, if they're not hiring, they'll give you 95% of the information to turn around and go talk to somebody else. So just networking, talking early, and then being consistent. Like that's my biggest takeaway. I didn't talk to any companies my freshman year. So when I started my sophomore year, I might as well have been a freshman. I didn't know anything. So it was very hard. It was a lot of hurdles to get over, a lot to learn in a very short amount of time.
And what about changing majors? Like some people, have y'all had any experience with some of y'all friends that went to college and they took some classes? They thought they wanted to be this, then they decided, hey, I'm gonna change my mind. And this, you can kind of waste some time. Would you give them any advice to know what you want to do when you get there, so you don't have to waste that much time? Not saying you're not gonna make no mistakes, but what kind of advice would you give someone right there?
Personally, I would say I'm not against major changes. I do know I've seen some people change majors as seniors. Like, you can just truly decide that's not what you want to do. And now I know it might be a waste of time, might be a waste of money. You might have to do an extra year or an extra year and a half. But if you know that's not what you want to do and you have a chance to change, I would say change. And then as far as knowing what you want to do when you get into it, that's kind of like, it's a gift and a curse. Like, there's so much that you don't know, so you're excited to get into it. But also there's so much that you don't know, so you're not 100% sure if you'll like it.
And just to add to that as well, just because I changed my major in college, I started off as a biochemist, and then I realized I didn't know, as the panelist questioned, what was I going to do with that when I graduated? So I said, okay, I probably should change my major. Each college has a career center or an advisor center, so I highly recommend that you talk to your college advisor. Within that center, they have it where they have the jobs postings, so they can tell you the projection of your major and what the average starting salary is for that job. So if you go into your college center, we're going to pick engineering because Garrett and I chose engineering. They'll tell you mechanical engineers start off at this salary, rough estimate. Electrical engineers start off at this salary. Chemical engineers start off with petroleum, et cetera. They also have it where there's dress for success, so they'll have like resume techniques, how to interview, how to dress for those. All this is within the college. So each college has that, whether it's education, whether it's natural science, whether it's engineering, nursing, business, et cetera, they have that in the college itself. If you do change your major, my advice would be first go talk to a counselor, because you can change your major and not know what classes to take because you're going based on the previous college. And then once you talk to that counselor again. We're all human, and I have a daughter in college as well, and she has made some errors where she thought she was taking a class that was towards a major, realized a semester later it wasn't. I'm not gonna say a waste of money and time, but it was a little bit of a waste of money and time. So that happens, we all make mistakes, but as I think the panelists said, just keep looking and keep trying, but definitely ask for advice and counselors whenever you're making those switch, and definitely ask for the career techniques when it comes to interviewing, going to the career fairs that they have every semester, as well as what to wear whenever you're actually at those interviews. Renee?
I want to chime in on this because I'm the queen of major changes. I think I changed my major 3 or 4 times once I was at my university. A big part of it was I knew what my academic abilities were and my skills, and I based my degree only on that and not the experience and exposure of the job. No knock to accountants, but I was told that I had to be an accountant because I was good at math, and I didn't like accounting. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go home. I called my parents and told them I was going home, and they were like, no, you're not. You're gonna find something else. And so interning and networking, not only is it good to help you get your foot in the door with the company, but it's good to help you make sure that's the actual career that you want. When you're in high school and you're thinking about different careers, different majors, follow someone that's doing that as a profession and see if you actually like it and if it's something that you can see yourself doing every day, where it's not just a job, but a lifestyle.
Great, great advice. Any other questions from the audience?
Good morning. I don't have a question specifically at this moment, but I did want to mention, like you mentioned, the Career Center and the advisors. We're in Alvin ISD, and I think our district is wonderful in that they've already talked to freshmen this school year for the plan of study, and we talk about dual enrollment. So I just want to tell the kids, don't be afraid of your counselors. They're there to help you, and if your parents can't help you, talk to your friends. Maybe their parents can help you. But there's a lot of help out there, so you don't have to just try to figure it out on your own, but make sure you do talk to the counselors because they can help you take the right classes for dual enrollment. We mentioned about maybe taking some of the wrong classes, but I'm not sure how that can happen at the high school level. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that there's some really good counselors out there that do want to help, that have all the right information, at least while you're in high school.
Perfect. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Scholarships, and he's like, no, Mom, I'm not interested in that. I won't get that scholarship, but I want every parent to know if it's out there, whether they qualify or not, apply for it. Because I had a friend and her daughter applied for it was a Hispanic group, and it was a lot of money, and she got it. And she's not Hispanic because nobody else applied for it. And I'm still talking about that. So just apply.
I do have a comment. That's my mother over there, guys, in the PV shirt. It's never too late to apply. So yeah, she's right. I drug my feet. I left a lot of money on the table. I didn't go off with nearly as much scholarship money as I should have. But that's not the end of the day, or that's not the end of the world. I got over $30,000 once I got to college. I just got it. I got 25 what was that? I got 25 this past summer, and that's going to cover the next 4 semesters. And I've got another about $6 to $8 grand through the college since I've been in college the past 3 years, on top of the 25 grand. So it's just never stop. You may have only gotten maybe $8,000 going into college, but that's not the end of the world. You can keep applying, and eventually something's going to stick.
That's perfect. Any other questions or comments? Okay, I have one question. We all talked about the transition and what's going to make you successful. So my question to the panelists is if you can highlight your transition from high school to college with the flexibility. We all know that when you're in high school that you're staying with your parents, you probably have a curfew. They tell you may or may not who to hang out with, not. How did you all balance and handle that transition from you in your parents' home to now you're free, like the bird, and you kind of have to have your own responsibility and make those life choices? Yes. How did you all handle, or what advice would you give when it comes to transitioning from high school, when you had a little bit less freedom with your parents, may have had a curfew, what friends to hang out with, what to wear, et cetera, to going to college where you have more freedom and flexibility? You can decide when you want to study, where you want to go, what time, who you want to hang out with. So how did you all handle the transition from an environment with your parents to the freedom and flexibility in college?
I'll go first. Just using your judgment. Your parents brought you up in the best way they know how, and they aim to equip you with tools to where you can succeed and live on your own without them. So you know what type of people what type of company you should keep for what your goals and what your aspirations, how far you want to go, because you will become the people that you most surround yourself around. So if you know you want to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or a 4.0 student, I'd be trying to find like-minded people that want to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or 4.0 student, and as well as learning when to say no. You've got a lot of free time, and I go to school down the road from Houston, and there's been some times on a Tuesday afternoon when I got out of class at 11, we're like, oh, let's go to Houston. Let's go to Houston for what? It's Tuesday. We got work to do. We got an exam on Friday. It's just learning when to say no, learning learning how to handle business on your own. You don't have your mom or your teachers aren't going to email your mom and say, hey, you got a missing assignment. You're going to get a 0 in the grade book, and you would pray that in the syllabus they've got room for you to make that up or turn it in late.
Liz, you want to add? I know you mentioned your transition as well, from transitioning from high school to college.
So you want me to give advice? Okay. I say I handled it better than I expected. I was on the phone with my mom every day though, so like every day. And I mean, there is freedom, and it really is easy to like go with the wrong crowd. So if you're not like disciplined already, then it will be hard. So just try to discipline yourself now. And if you're deciding between like work and a party, choose your work. There's gonna be parties. Like there's gonna be plenty of parties to go to. So yeah.
Great, excellent. So as we're closing, I guess before we close, can each one of the panelists just give like one word of advice, some wisdom for the high school students?
Get involved in your community now. There's some sort of volunteer event you can get involved in. There's some sort of professional that'll let you shadow them, if not once a month, once a year. They'll let you shadow them and see what they do, if that's a like path that you want to take. Get a mentor. There's somebody that's willing to help you out, willing to give you a shoulder lean on. There's somebody to talk to on how to progress yourself as a person, as a Christian, or as a student, and as a professional.
The only thing I would say is to learn how to study now. Like, learn how to study now. Because in high school, I feel like I didn't study. I still don't know how to study. I would just look over stuff, and I feel like I could pass it. But in college, I feel that you have to take more time and actually, like, understand what it is. Because what you study may not even be on the exam or the test. Like, it's worded different. So you have to actually, like, understand what it is that you're getting in class. So
I would say just to talk to God like every single day. When you feel like you have nobody else, He's always gonna be there. He's got me through every single exam, every test, every quiz. He's just, just always talk to God every day, pray all the time, keep Him right beside you while you're at college. Amen.
Basically what Alea say, just learn how to study the right way.
I would just say, like, everything starts like your freshman year, like your GPA, everything, and you should start being active in your community and your school your freshman year. So once you do start applying for scholarships in college, they can see that you weren't trying to, I guess, build your resume like your senior year, but you actually, like, you're a committed and dedicated person, and you began your freshman year and you stuck it out your whole high school career. I have another thing. Also, get involved in school. I wasn't like doing any sports or whatever, and so my mom was like, you need to get involved, you need to get involved. I didn't want to, so I just went and signed up for like a lot of stuff. Cause they look for that like on like for applications, and so they look to see if you were involved. So I would say get involved in school if you're not doing anything. If you're not playing any sports, like I wasn't playing any sports. So I got involved in like student council. I was in NHS, like just FCA, just get involved.
And even if you play sports, still get involved.
Yes. I guess, go ahead. Good question.
You got a big class on a lot of people in there, but then maybe 20 or 30 in a small town like 20. When you go to big college, how was that?
Very, very good question.
So, like, at Wharton, my class only had, like, 15 people, and once I got to UT, like, my chemistry class had 600 students. Like, it was definitely a really, really big change.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I knew when making my decision on where I wanted to go to college, like, I looked at, like, how was their STEM program, but as well as, like, the location. Because, like, I wanted to go to Baylor, but then I didn't like Waco. Like, I wanted to go to a big town. Like, that's something I want to do. So I chose UT Austin. But I would definitely say like the transition at first, it was difficult because like I went from knowing everybody in my grade to not knowing like 10 people's name in my class. So I definitely just say like it's difficult at first, but just got to put yourself out there. Like go to office hours, like make your face known and recognizable. Like just going to office hours, academic communities, and being friends with like people that's in your major and in your class, so y'all can kind of motivate each other. So.
Yeah, kind of what Kateria said. So my class, like, it's not that many people. It's like maybe 30. But you don't actually get that, like, one-on-one with so many people because you also don't get that much time in the class either. So like she said, like, go to that one-on-one with your professor. Like, he'll know your face. Like, you can get more help. And then you can ask as many questions as you want. Especially, like, if you don't want to ask in front of the whole class, then you could just set up that time with him. And then he'll explain it better as well. And then also get in study groups as well because if your professor explained it and you didn't understand it from him, then you might be able to understand it better from your peers in your class.
I can say I didn't have to make the transition. I go to Prairie View as well. Our class sizes are small. They pride themselves on that. So if you're from a small town and you're used to smaller class sizes, smaller environments, where you do have the chance to know everybody in your class, I'd say look for schools that offer that. It's a lot more colleges than you think, reputable colleges than you think that have smaller class sizes. And as you progress, the class sizes are only going to get smaller. Like I had a class this semester. My class size is normally around 35. I had a class this semester with 14 people in it. We all knew everybody by name. Teacher knew us by name. That's very rare, but it was a great learning environment.
No, that's a very good point. Consider that the class size whenever you go to universities. Myself as well as Katera, you sit in a class with 400 or 500 students, you're a number. So the best advice is to make sure they know your name. How do you do that? Leah said it perfectly, going to study hours, get small groups. Even though the class sizes are large, you find that sense of family within a big university or a big classroom, or even in a small university, a small classroom. You need that sense of a small family in college. Any other questions? No? Okay, I'm gonna give my one word of wisdom. Go ahead. Go ahead, Garrett.
I can agree to that. Definitely build a great relationship with Pastor Hendricks and Nicholas as well. I call these guys for everything. Pastor Hendricks set me up with my first recruiter when I was looking for an internship. He looked over my resume. Nicholas has looked over my resume. So just like use your resources. Pastor Hendricks is here to help build the youth, and he's done a great job of that. And Nicholas is doing a great job of that as well.
Yes, mentorship. The panelists here are volunteering to support. Nicholas and myself are volunteering their time, and Pastor Hendricks never stopped volunteering his time for mentorship. Cassandra, you had a question?
I just wanted to say, my oldest daughter had an instance where I don't know if we forgot to apply for financial aid or we missed the date, but she went to the financial aid office and they came up with like $1,000. So if you're broke, Alicia, just utilize that financial aid office because they're also there to help you. And they will, there's money out there that you may not know about, but they know, and they can get you assistance.
Thank you, Cassandra. That's awesome. And that's actually my word of wisdom in the financial area. At the universities, a lot of times at the football game, there's a stand where there's a free T-shirt, a cup, or a hat with an application. Do not fill out the application, keep walking. They'll give you a credit card, especially Alicia, like she said, in college. You know you're a college student when you're broke. That's how you really know you're there. So they'll give college students a credit card, and all you have to do is fill it out, put your social security number, you have credit card, and you already have in debt. I was a victim to that debt as well. And then when you have, say, the good advice, you don't do that. Don't do that. Keep walking. Don't take the free, they'll give you the free T-shirt even if you don't sign up. And then also when you do get the scholarships, and you get grants and financial aid, as Cassandra was saying, a lot of times they'll give you more financial aid than you do need. They may give you, so then you have extra money. Keep in mind you have to pay that back. So also just think about taking the amount of money you do need when you are offered that financial aid.
Can I add one thing before we get started? So one thing I challenge high school and college students is how important it is for those grades. Those grades are very important. So we know that you want to go to college. Your main reason of college is not to join a fraternity or sorority. Your main reason to go to college is not to go to a party. Your main reason of college is to go learn. So you got to ask yourself a question. I recruited for Dow Chemical for 25 years, and you have to have at least a 3.0 to get an internship or to get a full-time job. While my friends was going to parties, I was at the library, and some of my friends, even today, they still didn't go to get a job in what they majored in because they want to have too much fun. And when you spend more time having fun than doing your education, you're out of balance. So I would encourage you. I don't want my heart doctor to make C's and D's. I want my heart doctor to make A's and B's. Companies are looking at who's making A's and B's. When you make A's and B's, that means that you know the technical side of the whatever you're majoring in. You know, anybody can go to basket weaving and make a A. But when you go to your technical skills, if you're engineering, nursing, they want to know, can you take somebody's blood pressure? They don't want nobody messing with their patients and you don't know how to do the blood pressure, or you can't do whatever you need to do for that patient. Whatever you do, you have to make sure you're making A's and B's. You don't have to be perfect. You might make a C here or there, but you can't have all C's, because all C's means if you're majoring in accounting, you're going to probably work at McDonald's as a manager. And nothing's wrong with being a manager at McDonald's. You're just not going to go and work in your major. So I'm just saying, make sure you have your technical skills. If Talia wasn't technical at what she did with engineering, she would not be in the position that she's in today. If Nicholas was not technical in the accounting, he would not be in the field that he's in today. So make sure you're making good grades, A's and B's. That should be your goal. And if you can't do that, you got to say, okay, I can't go to this party tonight, or I can't go to this event. I can't go to Houston and go hang out. Stay in that dorm, lock yourself in, and get those A's and B's.
Great words of wisdom. Last thing for me, as far as words of wisdom, I definitely say get as close with those professors as you possibly can. I had a situation in college. My dad didn't even know about the situation. Gonna know about it now. I had a 78 in one class, and I was like, man, it was rough. But I went to the office hours every day. I tried and I applied everything that I did, and he bumped me up to a B. I ran around that parking lot probably about 5 or 6 times. I had to, saying glory to Jesus. But building that relationship with that professor is what helped me bump me up to that grade. If I didn't apply myself and I didn't keep trying, and he saw the effort, right? And so that's why he rewarded me. That's not the case for every situation, but you know, when you got favor, it just worked a little different. But yeah, I definitely say please, like, in all seriousness, for sure, build those relationships with those professors, and just take care of business, handle business as much as you can. I have a lot of people I met a lot of people in college who they started college and they didn't finish for whatever reason, but a lot of times it came down to they're not handling business, and so they graduated and they didn't try to push themselves, and like my dad said, they got a major in basket weaving and they got an A, that's great, but then they realize as soon as they get into the work field, there's not a big market for basket weavers. So it's like, well, dang, I got to go back and, you know, figure out what else I got to do. So I definitely say apply yourself, push yourself while you're in college, and just take it as serious as you possibly can. The last thing, I definitely say try to get an internship as much as you possibly can. Gary mentioned it earlier. I got a couple internships before college as well too, and it made it a lot easier getting into the workforce. So I already did internship for my junior and my senior year. So whenever it was time to, as soon as I was before I even graduated, I already had a job lined up. And so that's kind of the ideal situation. So you already have a job lined up. You just got to worry about those last classes, and then you know, you hit the ground running as soon as you graduate. So I definitely say try to get those internships as well. So yeah, those are my last words of advice. So let's give a round of a hand for the panelists. And thank you guys for all the questions as well too. Again, thank you again, panelists. So that concludes this workshop. And again, you can reach out to me, Pastor Hendricks, Taya, any of the panelists as well too. If you have any other type of questions or comments or concerns as well too. So thank y'all, appreciate it. I think the next thing is
Lunch.
Lunch is the next thing. Thank you. So we're gonna head over there right now. Okay, got you. So yeah, thank you again. This concludes the workshop.
For those who don't know where the lunch area is, when we exit this room, you'll go to your right and through the glass door.